Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our April 17, 2025 Special Magistrate hearing for the Building Division. At this time, please silence all of your devices. If there's anyone who wishes to speak at today's proceedings, please stand and raise your right hand. Are you guys going to speak for your mom? Stand up and raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings? Thank you. You all may be seated. Our first case, Chief Leonardo Martinez on page 27, property address 540 Southwest 27th Ave, owner iStorage PO LLC. This case was first heard on 5/23/24 to comply by 11/19/24. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $14,800, which continues to accrue.
Good morning.
Morning.
Chief Martinez representing the city. Case and address as read. The case is not in compliance. City is requesting the full amount to be imposed.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
My name is Patricia Deacon.
Okay, and why is this property not in compliance yet?
I'm reading the form that you guys have here. Is it you have received the report, right? Because it says the report has not been turned in, but the report has been turned in, the 10-year report, inspection report.
Well, I don't have that detail here, but we received a report that repairs were required. And now we're waiting for the revised report. I mean, meaning that you fix all what was appointed by the engineer of record, and then he needs to provide you and us with a new report saying that no repairs are required. We haven't received that. And the case was opened on October 4th of 2023.
Okay. So we've hired a company, Janus International. After we hired the engineer to do the report, Panoni, they provided us the 10-year report. As far as I know, they turned it in, and there are improvements or necessary actions to get in compliance. We're in the process of trying to get permits, and that's been a pretty tiresome process. I do have outlined, I don't know if you guys want to see it, but I have outlined here all the steps that they've taken, and I know we spoke on the phone. What's happening is there's an 8-week period that they're allowed to review each piece. So what they're doing is reviewing the last day and then saying, okay, this is wrong. Then we come back and fix whatever that error is, and then we have to wait 8 more weeks. So it has been drawn out, and believe.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but that's not on the city. I mean, this was from 2023. We are on 2025, so don't put that in the city. What I'm recommending you to do is, as soon as you get your permit issued, talk to your engineer of record, and he can provide a letter with the issue permit, like Bora has written on the law, and we will stop the fines at that moment, and you will get 180 days. But at this moment, the city doesn't support any extension, Your Honor.
But I don't. This wasn't 2023.
Is the address 540 Southwest 27th Avenue?
It is.
Okay, the case was opened on October 4th of 2023.
Okay, I don't have that on my record, but I won't argue it. I don't know that to be true, but I have a later date than that, I thought. I thought it was last year, the end of last year, but not 23.
Well, we don't have that detail right here. I have it written on 2023, but still, you don't have a revised report. Okay, what I'm recommending you to do is get the permit issued, and when you get that permit issued, provide us with an engineer.
We can't get a permit is the issue. We keep trying, and we can't get permits for simple, as far as I'm being told by the company, is that it's simple non-structural issues, rust on stuff, things non-structural.
There is something that is missing there that the review is requesting, and the person that needs to provide us with the right information is not doing it.
the permit is the issue, but we've been trying, and I have 2 pages, almost 2 pages of
Yeah, I
steps.
understand all that, but the permit hasn't been issued because the reviewer is asking for corrections that you guys haven't been able to respond correctly. I recommend you that the person that is helping you to obtain the permit go to the 700 building and talk to the reviewer and ask what needs to be done or what is the missing link where the permit cannot be issued.
Inspector, I have a question. Are you waiting for a permit to comply this case, or are you waiting for a report,
No,
an updated report?
Okay, in order for them to obtain the extension,
The
they need
180
an
days.
issue permit. So they can complete the repairs that were written on the report. They provide the report, but repairs are required.
Mr. Magistrate, in order how this process works is they have to submit an initial report.
Which they have done.
Which they have done, which granted them an initial 180 days. Now that repairs are required, they're entitled to an additional 180 days, but only once they obtain a permit. And we receive a letter that the building's safe to occupy while the repairs are being made. It sounds like she's having a dilemma in obtaining that permit. My suggestion would be, rather than hearsay from her contractor, for her to be involved, looped into that conversation with the city, include me in that email, and so I can guide her on what the holdup is with this permit, because otherwise we're just going back and forth. This seems like an easy solution, but until that permit is issued, there's not much more we could do as far as granting extensions. We'll be more than happy to grant an extension once they obtain that permit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to state your name for the record?
I'm sorry, Joe Pasquarello, Assistant Building Official.
Okay. All right, do you understand?
I do understand. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I mean, we're trying to fix.
I see that
we're
you are.
trying.
It sounds like there's a little bit of miscommunication.
We have a signed bid. We're ready to.
I understand.
We just can't get to the point where we're allowed to do anything.
I understand.
So, I was asked to ask a question of someone here. Can we use a maintenance permit?
I'm sorry?
Can we use a maintenance permit?
There's certain items that are covered under your in-house engineer's allowance of what they could do in repairs. We'd have to go over that. There is a section in the code that does allow for certain repairs, but nothing that would be regarding concrete restoration work or anything like that.
Yeah. So.
But we can go over
This
that.
kind of a discussion is not a discussion
we can go
before
over
the
that.
magistrate. That's got to be offline with staff, and they have to review the substance of the permit application and the scope of the work that needs to be
Okay.
done.
Can I have your? I guess. Just
I'll
get me in
give you
contact?
one of my
Okay.
cards.
Okay.
All right, so obviously, there is some confusion here between you and permitting, or there's information that your contractor's not providing to you. I suggest that you do what they just told you to do, which is to get on a three-way call with your contractor and the city and figure out what the holdup is, because these fines will continue to run. Now, if you're diligent, you may have the ability to go through an amnesty process and reduce the fines. However, we can't take this confusion. We have to find out what's going on, okay?
Okay. I mean, we do talk to them. I was on a conference call with them, so.
I think it's best that we're
list
on
of
a
everything
three-way.
But
that's
they
been-
they weren't on that call. The city was not on that call.
Okay,
so
call
that
with the
they
three
can
of us.
determine what the breakdown of communication is, if there is one.
Okay.
All right. So the fines will continue to accrue. So I suggest that you act quickly. Okay.
May I ask when the fine started accruing and the daily?
Well, they
We
started
don't have
accruing
it here.
quite some time ago, 148 days ago,
Okay. And the
Okay.
daily is
$100 a day.
$100 to 148. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes.
Our next case is on page 2. It's a new business case. Chief Martinez, property address 2713 Northeast 15th Street. Owner, Prima Villa Condo Association, Inc. Case number BE 24070307. Notice posted at the property on 3/6/25. Posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard, 4325.
Chief Martino representing the city, case and others as read. The report was submitted, but repairs are required. The city is requesting 180-day extension for the owner to complete the repairs and submit a new report or fines of $100 per day thereafter.
Thank you.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
My name is Jeremy Gerson, President of Primavera Condo Association.
Okay, Mr. Gerson, are you in agreement with the 180-day extension to complete the repairs?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next two cases are on page 34. Senior Inspector Jose Saragusi. Property address 2680 Northwest 21st Court. Owner Mabel J. McCoy. Case number BE 2406-0170. This case was first heard on 2/20/25 to comply by 3/6/25. Fine suspended as noted. 2 sections not complied.
Good morning. Inspector Saragusti on behalf of the city, updating the case as read. The case is not compliant. Violation remains. The property has room full of clutter, doors with padlocks and bars on some windows. The city is requesting the case to return as a massy. I will let the respondent to speak.
Excuse me, I couldn't hear what he was saying.
First, I thought that when this came before me before, that you were going to make a trip back, and I ordered them to let you in, and,
Yes, I did.
okay,
I have some pictures.
okay, please.
I'm not here.
Let me see those. Thank you.
Excuse me, may I send you mine? Because I don't know what he gave you. Please. Yes.
Okay, and we're taking the first case on the page first? Okay, all right. Okay, please state your name for the record.
Hello, how y'all doing? My name is Ronald Dotson. I am Miss Mabel's son.
Good morning, Ms. Mabel. You're here on this hearing based on alleged unfit for human habitation home. Can you tell me what you want to tell me in support of your position? I need you to get behind the microphone and yeah, thank you.
I don't know why he keeps saying the house is unfit. Is something wrong with this picture? Because the house is not unfit. That's my house. We know this. And the house has been, I've been there 57 years in that house. So I asked him on the last visit. He didn't come that day. He came the next day. What do you want? I've done everything you asked. What do you want from me? He could not tell me what he wanted. He called me 20 days later to tell me that no matter what you said, the thing is that the house, I need to get out of that house and take my people with me. You can't put me out the house because my house is clean. You can't make me make a bed when I can't walk. When I first came about, this was going on, I was in a nursing home. I couldn't walk. My whole side was bad. Now what I have to do is get somebody to do whatever you ask me to do. Because when I came home after 3 months, it was a mess. But all that's been done and done and done. I don't know what this gentleman wants. He just told me when he did call me, and I was at therapy, to get out my house. That's the second thing he sent me. He had me make me. He had me. You didn't tell me to do it. He had me make a floor plan. Make the floor plan. The floor plan you told this gentleman to tell me you didn't like the beds. Get rid of the beds and sit in the backyard. You comes to my house. You park. I don't know if you're going to kill me or what. You come out there, and the same day we left here, you come out there. I wouldn't think you're being friendly. You're not friendly. You park out there. I can't walk. I can't run. What do you want? I asked you that in front of everybody was in there. You said I have to ask my supervisor. Took you 20 days. Ma'am, I don't know what he keep writing me for. I'm not a bum. I've been sick. I'm still going. What do he want? I done put everything in place, and now I'm just very nervous of him. I'm outside with my sons to try to exercise me, to move me, to get my body to work. I was totally paralyzed.
Your Honor,
excuse me. I just want to find out what is it that I'm not doing that he found my house unfit.
Okay, all right. I understand what you're saying.
Your Honor, if you'll recall, this case has already been heard. There's already been a finding entered, and despite what the property owner is saying, it's being operated as an illegal boarding house. There have already been pictures submitted into the record that show that. There's already been significant testimony from many departments, fire, police, with regard to the activities and problems at this particular property. So the issue here today is only to, on the order to reappear, is as to whether or not the violations in the first one, we have obviously two, have been cured.
The last communication, it was 15 days ago. I called her with Inspector Katie Williams. I tried to explain again the violation, and she answered me, I don't want to talk with you, you will talk with my lawyer. And she finished the conversation.
Okay. And
Inspector Katie Williams is here.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Inspector Williams. We did talk, we called the neighbor and tried to explain the violation to her because the case was coming up for hearing, and that was her response, is she does not want to talk to Inspector Saragusti. She will have her attorney call us. And then she hung the phone up. But since then, no attorney has called. I've been checking with Saragusti day after day to see if an attorney has reached out on her behalf, and nobody has reached out.
okay. Refresh my recollection as what the prior finding was with regard to the evidence that this house is uninhabitable. Because there's a difference in my mind between them not being able to operate as a boarding house and telling them they have to leave the home.
We have two cases. This case is for human habitation, unfit for human habitation, and for that, the property full of clutter and doors with the padlocks and bars on the window is a risk for the people that live inside. Mm-hmm. We have another case, the following case, for the boarding house. We can talk with the boarding house later, but the zoning, it doesn't allow to have a boarding house there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the facts of the boarding house. I just don't recall what the prior order said or what the evidence was for the prior order with regard to electric, but now you're telling me there are bars on the windows that needed to come out. There's other, are there other things?
Padlocks on the doors, he said.
Pardon me?
Padlocks on the doors.
Okay,
That would be a life safety issue, of course, for
okay.
residents
All right.
that are there for boarding.
So here's my issue. Let me just state this before you continue. We're here on a reappearance. It has already been found that this home is unsafe, okay? So I really can't revisit that portion of it. And I'm struggling a little bit because the last time you were before me, you gave me the same information, insisted that your house was safe, and I said, you need to talk to these people and let them tell you exactly what you need to do to make the house safe. And I gave you time to do that. And they called, and you refused to speak with them, said to talk to your lawyer according to their testimony. So that is the issue I want you to address at this point.
The
Okay.
reason I say I wasn't speaking to him, because
Okay.
I wasn't speaking to him because he giving me a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know what he's talking about. And he's telling me to get out of the house. I'm not going to speak to you. Maybe I need to talk to a lawyer. I did say I need to talk. I don't know what he's talking about. Code this, and this is required that the only solution to this problem is for you to get your people and get out of this house. I ain't on no plantation. What you talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. I asked you in front of the police officer, and she
you
told
can
you
find
to.
out. You could have found out what he was talking about by speaking to one or two of these people, but you chose not
He
to.
called me on the phone. I don't know where this man. I was in physical therapy. He called me on the phone, and we were told like I couldn't talk back there. Call me back. He did. You and I don't have any bars. Why you keep saying bars?
Been in my mama's house 2 months. I quit because we know she have these problems. This inspector right here, he don't come in the house. We asked him for a walk-in. We did everything he said do. My mama did everything. Don't spend over $50,000. Whatever he said do. This man do not walk
Do
in
you
the
have
house.
any receipts? Do you have any evidence that you spent this money on the house?
We can get the receipts. I'm sorry. We can get the receipts. What I'm trying to say is this inspector, he is not telling y'all the truth. If you come to the house right now, it is different. He wouldn't even come for a walk-in. He was scheduled for a walk-in. The man parked in the front and put 2 tickets up there and hauled buddy. I called him on the phone, called the thing, and sent him pictures that you supposed to do a walk-in because we know you necessarily need this. He is not doing his job. I don't want to call nobody a storyteller, but this man.
Well, sir, with all due respect, you're the one telling the story because the inspector just showed pictures of the inside of the house.
But that's
and when the inspector goes to post, that's a posting of a hearing. Not happening, sir.
Ma'am,
We're not going to
that's
do that.
old pictures. This old picture he taken some 2 years happened to go when the
No, sir.
roof filled in. This old pictures.
Not true.
I got new.
What was
Well,
the
come
date
to the
the
house.
pictures
Come to
were
the
taken?
house.
Please.
Please.
I want to
I'm
make this
sorry.
rule. When I'm speaking, no one else speaks.
Yes, ma'am.
These pictures that I show you,
Taken when, sir?
I cannot. I need to take the case date, the inspection we did.
But since the last hearing?
Yes. 15 days after the hearing,
Yes.
we have the scheduled
Okay.
inspection, and we went there with the Detective Stilani and make the inspection 2 days after the 15 days.
Okay.
It's
All
a
right.
lot of time.
Okay. All right. Again, I cannot disturb the prior order finding that this house was unfit for human habitation. That order has already been entered. What I can find is that pursuant to my last order, this property owner has not complied with my last order by giving enough access and by taking calls from the city in order to educate yourselves on what still needed to be done. And so the order's already been entered on the unfit for human habitation, and I'm not going to disturb that.
So we'd set it for Massey. We would suggest that based upon the pictures that I saw, that the property if it's in full compliance, that the bars are removed from the windows, the padlocks are removed from the doors, and all of the extreme trash, clutter, etc. are removed, then there's adequate time for the property owner to get together with the city and have the city, give the city access to go in and comply the case.
All right, so this will be set for a hearing to impose fines, okay? You will have time before that to get with the city, to talk to them, to get what they want done, and to get it done, okay? Because these are life, health, safety issues, okay? So you are being given that time before the hearing to impose fines. Do you understand?
Yeah. We don't have no bars. We never have no bars.
Okay, well, that's presumably that will be resolved before the hearing.
Can we ask you one favor, Judge? Can we get another inspector?
No,
because
that's not how that works. No, sir.
Yeah, no, okay. All right, so let's call the second case for the same property.
Property address 2680 Northwest 21st Court, case number BE 2409-0177. This case was first heard on 2/20/25. To comply by 4/17/25. One section not complied at $100.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, updating the case as read. The case is not complied. The property is still boarding house. The city is requesting the case return as a Massey. I will let the respondent to speak.
we don't understand what he's saying because
All right,
we really don't understand what he's saying.
Okay, what he's saying is, and this was a previous finding, that there was a boarding house being operated out of this home without the facility, without the proper certificate. Have you obtained that certificate yet? Okay.
Ma'am, we just have to get a lawyer. Okay.
Do you have a certificate to run a boarding house?
We run a boarding house. We are family members in the house. We are family members
They
in the
are
house.
all your family members.
We
how
are family
how many
members.
people are living
Y'all
in
keep
that
saying
house?
it's a boarding house, but it's several people in the house. We are family members. We just get.
How many people are living in that house the last
In
time?
the last inspection, were there around 9 persons?
Okay.
Tell me why you didn't bring the people to the bars and keep saying,
Okay.
They don't want to, Mama. They don't want to. We just have to get a lawyer, Mama.
Okay. The prior finding was that you are running a boarding house. Again, I can't disturb that prior finding. The only thing I could do is to hold this over for Massey, and if by the time the Massey comes around, you obtain the certificate, then you'll be in compliance. Okay? All right. Thank you very much.
Come on, let's go.
Our next case is on page 23. Senior Inspector Alexander Boris. Property address 6201 Bay Club Drive. Case number BE 2402-0159. Owner Bay Colony Club Condo, Inc. This case was first heard on 4/18/24. To comply by 6/20/24. Two sections not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $2,800, which continues to accrue. There are 3 extensions noted.
Good morning. Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, updating you on case number and address is read. The property was cited for violation of City Ordinance 9-280C and City Ordinance 9-280D for deterioration to the balconies that were in disrepair. This case is there's been multiple permits that have been issued. Most of the repairs have been addressed. We're just waiting for a final completion letter from the engineer. The association, it's been working very hard to get this resolved, and they're here to provide an additional update.
Okay, what is the city's recommendation?
City supports an extension to allow them to provide that final step for the, for us to receive the final letter of completion.
Okay.
Because this was a hazardous situation, we require the engineer of record
Sure.
to provide a final letter of completion that the repairs have been made, and once we get that, that will comply the case.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Robert Cole, President of Bay County Club Condominiums.
Okay, welcome. How much time do you think you need to complete the process?
30 days.
Maximum of 30 days.
Okay,
It's just the formality of the letter.
All
That's
right.
it. All the work is complete.
is 35 days good with you?
Yes.
Okay, 35-day extension, and we'll suspend the fines during that time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 30. Chief Martinez, property address 6201 Bay Club Drive, owner Bay Colony Club Condo Inc., case number BE 23100100. This case was first heard on 5/23/24 to comply by 7/4/24. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $10,300, which continues to accrue.
Chief Martinez representing the city, case and address as read. City would like to withdraw this case for now.
Okay. It's been withdrawn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 22. Senior Inspector Alexander Boris, property address 3645 Southwest 22nd Street, owner 3645 Southwest 22nd Street, LANF Trust, case number BE 24060092. This case was first heard on 10/17/24 to comply by 12/19/24. One section not complied at $50. City is requesting to impose the full amount of $5,900, which continues to accrue.
Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, updating you on case number and address is read. The property was cited for violation of City Ordinance 9-280C, pooling, disrepair, and unsafe flat roof structure attached to the rear of the building in disrepair and unsafe. What happened was the pool shell at the property popped out of the ground due to hydrostatic pressure when we got some flooding, and it created a void around the pool, and there's a separate case regarding a fence, so it was open for any pedestrian, and there was also an attached roof that was unsafe. To this date, I went to the property to verify they have removed the unsafe roof structure that's been cleaned up. They can't put up the fencing yet because they need their demolition permit was recently approved. This property there was a transfer in ownership going on, and they're going to provide more information in that regards. But the case is not yet complied. The council and the owner are here to share some more information.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Jared
Morning.
Gaspin. I represent the previous owners, which is the estate of Stephen
Okay.
Grooms. And this is,
Matt Blanchard, the
Okay,
present owner.
welcome.
so back in October 17th of last year, essentially my legal assistant had to come and attend the hearing because I was in a hearing on the property where there's a dispute amongst the heirs of the estate as to who was going to receive it. But we prevailed, and we've been moving forward with it, at that point. But there were a lot of delays that happened.
Okay, how much time does the homeowner need to bring the property into compliance?
We talked to Mr. Alvarez and essentially thought about 91 days would be an appropriate amount.
Okay, is that city in agreement?
City supports 91-day extension to come into compliance and to hold the fines.
Okay, 91 days, and I'll suspend the fines
Thank
during
you
that
so
time.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Our next case, Inspector Linda Holloway on page 21. Property address 1037 Southeast 2nd Court. Owner Glenn Rice and Cynthia Hoy, Revocable Trust. Cynthia Hoy, trustee, and Glenn Rice. Case number BE 2408-0355. This case was first heard on 11/21/24. To comply by 123.25. One section complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $2,100.
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Linda Holloway on behalf of the city. Case number and property address as read. The case is in compliance, and the city is requesting to impose the fine of $2,100. I have Mr. Shahidi?
Correct.
Here to speak on behalf of the property.
Good morning. Excuse me. Tom Shahidi. I'm here as the attorney, and my daughter's the property manager. They're really not here for an excuse. The reality is what Linda's reported is accurate. What happened, unfortunately, is a 500-plus pound of overhang on the roof fell off. There was an emergency situation. There were leaks in the townhouse, and repairs were being done without a permit. Once the issue arose, obviously, we went out, hired an engineer, hired a contractor, and the work is proceeding. The permit's been issued. It was fortunate for my daughter. She had just walked into the building. She could have been hit by a 500-pound drop, but it would have been a disaster. She can explain more about why the work was done and what happened, the emergency, and I'll let her speak for a moment.
Unfortunately, back in July, end of July last year, we ended up not knowing we had termite damage in the overhang. The reason why we did not know is because the bottom part of the overhang itself was made out of cypress wood, and termites do not eat cypress wood, which I've learned now. But unfortunately, ate all the inside, all the 2x4s and all the regular wood, ate it away, and it just fell.
Okay.
And so when that happened, we had to have removed, and then we also had someone come in and test all the other overhangs, a termite specialist. All those were also had termite damage, so we had those removed immediately because of course we didn't want that to fall and hurt or injure anybody.
Okay.
So we just went with the work, and Linda came out, and I met her on the street, like I think within that week, and she told me, you know, it's an emergency situation, keep moving forward, we'll just do an after-the-fact permit, and here's where we are.
Okay. Any evidence that they've not been diligent in their efforts?
No. She applied for the permit almost immediately.
What are the city's costs?
$808.31.
Okay. I'm going to enter an order reducing the fine to city costs of $808.31.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Our next case is a new business case on page 1. Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr., property address 831 Northeast 14th Court. Owner Matan Zafri, homestead exempted, Borshin Liet, and Elon Cohen. Case number BE 25010219. This case was first heard on 3/6/25. I'm sorry. Notice posted at the property on 3/6/25, posted at 1 East Route Boulevard 4/3/25. This is a new business case.
Good morning, Your Honor. Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr. on behalf of the city. Case and address as read. This case was first opened on January 27, 2025, following a neighbor complaint, and the following violation was found. Violation 9-1D. Any violation of the Florida Building Code shall be a violation of this section and punishable as provided for in this section. There is construction work at this property that was started or completed without obtaining the required permits, consisting of, but not limited to, multiple sheds installed without required permits. An inspection report was mailed out January 27th. Case was scheduled for magistrate on February 28th. and posted on March 6th for this hearing. Pre-hearing inspection was done on April 15th. The owner has been in contact throughout the whole process. He is trying to obtain a variance to be able to keep these sheds where they're currently placed. There's an application in the system, number PLN-BOA-25020002. Still hasn't had that variance hearing. I guess they still require some more information from him, so he's going through the process. But at this time, the city's going to request 126 days or $50 a day thereafter, and he can provide more information at that point.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Hi, good morning. My name is Matan Zafri.
Okay, are you in agreement with the 126 days to bring the property into compliance?
Yes,
or
that should be
face a
more
fine
than
of
enough.
$50 a day?
And I will explain. At the time, we are actually working on the variance. And at the time, we actually bought the property last year. These sheds has been installed prior to us. We thought they are exempt due to the size, like there is some sector over the law saying under some certain square foot. So it never been actually reported. Long story short, our neighbor had construction, then it actually occurred, and then it came to the city. Since then, I've been in full communication with everyone, trying to get that variance done. At the time, I'm stuck with the manufacturer as I'm trying to get some additional information from them, and the 120-something days should be more than enough to comply.
All right, thank you very much.
We all done?
126 days or $50 a
Appreciate
day
it.
thereafter.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 28. Chief Martinez, property address 1170 North Federal Highway, owner East Point Towers Condo, Inc. Case number BE 231-20032. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. This case was first heard on 1/16/25. I'm sorry. Get it together. This case was first heard on 5/23/24 to comply by 7/4/24. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $10,300, which continues to accrue.
Chief Martinez, representing the city, case and address as read. The case is not in compliance. I'm going to let the representative to speak.
I'm sorry.
28, the one in the middle, 1170 North Federal Highway.
Okay. All right, so 10,300 has already been, okay, accruing. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Go ahead.
The case is not in compliance. I'm going to allow the representative to speak.
Okay. Please state your name for the record.
Chairman Corelli, property manager of the condominium.
Okay, can you tell me what's going on?
Shoot.
We've had some issues with the board getting decisions made on getting an engineering firm. We had an engineering firm that we hired. We were here last year. We got an extension. Thank you very much. And we hired an engineering firm. They submitted the safety report. They completed the report by the required date. I think it was July 3rd or July 5th of last year. That was submitted. Then the board did not quite understand the rest of the process, so we reached out to the building department for clarification. We tried to get this other engineering firm to give us the information that they needed, Florida Engineering from Port Charlotte, Tampa area, to get us the information that we needed so that we could go forth and complete the repairs. We got very poor service from them. We reached out to them multiple times. They came out, they provided some photos. They never gave us any information so we could go to hire contractors to go out and do the RFP for the bidding of the work. Time passed, unfortunately, and so now we've hired another engineering firm here locally, Gobornegi from Fortis, to assist us with that process. So now he's applied for permits. The board has hired him. There's an active execute agreement with the Condominium Association to hire him to go forward. He's applied for a permit. He's already been starting to inspect the property to take it where the other firm, Florida Engineering of Port Charlotte, Florida, stopped and dropped the ball. The Condominium Association board sincerely apologizes for the delay, and we wish to go forward now, and we are serious about this. Gabor has helped us very much so in the last 2 weeks, and he sent a safety letter April 11th to the department showing that the building is safe to habitat, and there's no issues there.
All right, do you have any questions for the engineer or the?
No, but the issue here apparently is because they couldn't provide a letter with an issue permit. That's what needs to be provided to the city in order for us to grant an extension. What I would recommend you to do, as soon as the permit gets issued, speak to your engineer of record so he can provide us a letter with the issue permit, okay? And then at that moment, we're gonna stop the fines accruing, and give you 180 days so you can complete the repairs. But we're going to request the imposition of fines today. Okay?
Good morning, Your Honor. Chief Martinez. My name is Gabor Nagy. I'm the EOR on this project. And we fully accept and understand the city's role in this. We would like to refer to Section 3G5 that states that the building official may issue an extension not more than 60 days. We don't even need 60 days from this point on to obtain any necessary permits with a safety letter from the engineer. So we understand the fines have been accruing since January 3rd. Unfortunate event happened with the association, with the engineers. They also changed boards. What we are asking for is, since the safety letter was issued April 11th, the fines to stop there, because we are actively putting the bid, drawings together, the bid package together, applied for the permit in a couple weeks. Latest, we are going to supply all the necessary information for that to be issued. So we're just asking for some leniency since the safety letter was issued.
Your Honor, that doesn't apply on this case. I mean, the 60-day is within the time of the first extension expired, and it's been over far more than that.
Yeah, I think the prior extension would satisfy that, I realize that it may not be. I understand why the delays happened. Okay, I understand why the delays happened. But in order to keep this moving, I think the fines need to keep running until you get the permit and you're in compliance. I can't do anything about what's accrued prior. But when you come back in front of us for fines, you'll have the opportunity at that time to, go through a process whereby you could have the fines reduced to like 10% or something like that, or you can ask me to reduce them or whatever. But for right now, because this has been delayed for a while, I want to kind of keep the pressure on.
The pressure is definitely on, believe me. The pressure is seriously on. We had a board change, once again, on February 16th. Every February, in the first 2 weeks, there's a board change. And this is what happens in condominiums. You get a change of board, change of personalities, change of members. Mm-hmm. So the pressure is on, believe me. This is why we've hired Gabor, because the pressure is on. The new board realizes the pressure is on. The person of the board who has made some of these decisions is not in a decision-making capability any longer. So we have new board members who know the pressure is on, believe me.
Okay. How much time do you think it will take you to get the permit and get the report to the city?
The permit, my efforts to provide the documents for the permit will not take more than 2 weeks. I understand the pressure, unfortunately, these guys are dealing with. After that, how quickly
so as soon as you get all that, the fines will stop automatically.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We're hoping that the fines would stop sooner than that, since the safety letter.
Okay. All right. Well, that's my ruling. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
Our next case is on page 26. Inspector Andrew Gebbia, property address 1949 Riverside Drive, 1-2. Owner Eddie Jimenez, case number BE 24070281. Inspector Severian presenting on behalf of Andrew Gebbia. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 1/23/25. One section not complied at $50. City is requesting to impose the full amount of $4,150, which continues to accrue.
Good morning, Inspector Severian, standing in for Andrew Gabia, a building inspector for the city of Fort Lauderdale. The case is for the address Red. This case is not complied. The city is requesting for fines to be imposed. Plans have been submitted for the master and sub-permits for this case, but not yet issues. The city is not supporting an extension at this time. I will allow the respondent to speak.
Okay, please state your name. No.
Yes, good morning. Eddie Jimenez, owner of 1949 Riverside. Yes, I have all the permits in the building department. It's in review. We've been responsive as to anything that they ask from us to update in this permit process. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm complying.
Are they waiting for anything from you?
No, at all.
Okay.
So I just, whatever they request, I give it to them. I have an engineer, I have a contractor, I have a permit runner.
All right. I will give you 28 days and suspend the fine during that time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Try and get that done. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, I would suggest that there's communication between the owner or contractor and the plan reviewers so they could show as evidence that where the delays are.
Okay.
Otherwise, it'll be, we're waiting on the city, but, there's obviously could be clear communication between the plan reviewer and the respondent.
Okay. Can you facilitate that?
Absolutely.
All right. And you know what facilitate means?
Yes, I make it happen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great job, Severian. Our next case is a new business case on page 7. Senior Inspector Jose Sadagusti. Property address 814 Southwest 26th Court. Owner Glenn P. and Maria Cullen. Case number BE 24090032. Notice delivered via personal service on 3625. Notice posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard on 4325.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1, for work without permit for rear patio and roof structure. This case was opened on September 5, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on September 6, 2024. Final notice was made on October 11, 2024. Notice of hearing was mailed on January 2, 2025. We have been in contact with the property owner and the permit is awaiting client reply. We are asking the magistrate to find that the violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance on a fine of $50 per day thereafter. I will let the respondent to speak.
Say that again, 126 days or?
To comply or $50 per day thereafter.
Okay, thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, good morning. I'm Maria Fires-Cullen, one of the owners.
Are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 126 days or face a fine of $50 a day?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 32. Senior Inspector Preston Mark. Property address 1713 Northwest 13th Court. Owner Selby James. Case number BE 24090064. This case was first heard on 1/16/25. To comply by 4/17/25. Two sections not complied at $50.
Morning. Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This case is still not in compliance. I will allow the respondent to speak.
Hello. My name is
attorney Caleb Hosing. My office represents the mortgage servicer of the property.
Okay.
Sorry.
Did you state your name for the record?
Yes, Caleb Hosing.
Oh, sorry, 32. All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes. So my office is just asking for a 126-day extension. My client, I've been advised to speak with the code officer, and right now what we're looking to do is to be able to do a structural inspection. They're also going through their foreclosure process, so there is a title issue, so my client can't work on the property until that is done to pull all those permits. So we're just requesting a 126-day extension.
Okay. Any objection from the city?
Question. Does the bank currently own the property?
No, the bank does not currently own. My client has informed us that they are going through the foreclosure process. Unfortunately, my office is not representing them for that foreclosure, so I don't know the timetable, but until my client gets ownership of the property, they can't pull the permits.
So, Your Honor, and appreciate what counsel said. Again, this is an unsafe property, and we all know, and my experience has been at the city here, that foreclosures can certainly take some time. Oftentimes banks cancel sales inexplicably and reschedule. We have some problem properties here in the city that have been drug out 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Like I said, I appreciate what counsel's saying, but the property owner still has, and obviously I'm assuming he's not going to do it because he's in foreclosure, but I'm going to suggest that we set it for Massey.
Okay. Is the property inhabited?
From my knowledge, it's vacant, and I believe that my code enforcer was talking to my client's property preservation team, Brandy, and so they are looking to preserve the property to their fullest extent that they can. Unfortunately, again, because they're not the owner, there's only so much they can actually do.
Okay.
I mean, as a practical matter anyways, Your Honor, our city liens are going to get wiped unless we have to, unless it deteriorates to such a state where we have to take it down, in which case the city's costs to demolish would be recoverable in a foreclosure action. So I think we'd like to just go ahead and stay the course and set it for Massey. And obviously when the bank takes over, if and when they take over, then hopefully they'll.
Okay, I'm going to set it for Massey. But it's not going to be tomorrow, so it'll give you some time to try to, and then at the Massey hearing, you can give us an update, and we'll see from there, okay?
Perfect. Can I get a copy of that order here, or can I leave it?
It'll
will
go
be
out in
emailed.
the mail.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is a new business case on page 6. Inspector Andrew Gebbia. One moment. Property address 1759 Southeast 10th Street. Owner Alexander Salgado, Evelyn Salgado. Case number BE 24110155. Notice posted at the property on 3625. Posted at 1 East Road Boulevard 4325.
Good morning. Inspector Severian Ionescu standing in for Andrew Gebbia. This property was cited for violation under FPC 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to interior and exterior renovations, alterations, kitchens, bathrooms, windows, doors, roof, siding, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and pool. This case was opened on 12/5/24. Inspection report was mailed on 12/5/24. Special magistrate notice was mailed on 2/7/25. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into completion or a fine of $50 per day thereafter. I will allow the respondent to speak.
Okay. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Michael White. I'm a project architect.
Pardon me?
Project architect.
Okay. All right. Can you, is your client in agreement with the?
Yes, ma'am. I think 126 days is ample time to get it in compliance. We've prepared construction documents, submitted them to the city, and we're actively responding to plan review commentary.
Okay, 126 days or $50 a day thereafter. Okay, so ordered.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next case is on page 32. Page 32, Senior Inspector Alexander Boris, property address 517 Coconut Isle Drive. Owner Mario Miran Monifar. Case number BE 240405157. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 4/17/25. 3 sections not comply at $50.
Alexandra Boris, Building Inspector for the city, updating you on case number and address is read. The property was cited for violation of Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1, work without permit, specifically to the pool. Violation 2, Florida Building Code 2023, Section 110.1, missing approved inspections. And violation 3, Florida Building Code 2023, Section 107.4, work not as per plans, and work beyond the scope of work. This complaint originated from a neighbor across the waterway. The neighbor reported ongoing work conducted without a permit, specifically regarding the construction of a pool deck and seawall. There's a master permit issue for a new single-family residence, which looks very nice, by the way. But the pool permit was never issued. The case remains not in compliance, and the respondent is here to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Beatriz Giorgato. I'm
Okay.
speaking on the owner's behalf.
All right, and why is it taking so long?
We're waiting for the engineer, Thomas Engineers, to give us the right documentation for the dock and the elevation of the house, so we can submit it with the proper documentation for the pool and the dock. That's what we're waiting for.
Okay. All right, and how much time are you requesting?
60, 90 days to get that documentation from him, so we can apply.
City have recommendation?
Yeah, at this time, Your Honor, the city does not support an extension. We are continuously getting complaints. The city supported 91-day extension at the last hearing. So basically, the complaint is that there was outside patio concrete slab extended from the house over the seawall, which is, by the way, it was completed without the approved inspection and not as per plans, and extending over to the waterway. That's one complaint. The pool hasn't, I know that they're working on it, but it's been 91 days. And there's nothing has been done with the boat dock or the pool, so at this time the city cannot support an extension.
Okay. Is there any safety concerns with the pool situation?
There hasn't been any inspection. It's built. Has the pool been filled?
I'm sorry?
Has the pool been filled with water?
It's with water, yes, and it's
Okay.
covered. They
So-
have like a net right in the top.
So yeah, so that would be an issue, because the pool cannot be filled unless it's passed pool barrier inspection and electrical final. So it wasn't filled at the time when the complaint came in.
Yeah.
This is new information, but to answer your question, that would be one safety concern.
Okay. All right. Because of the safety concerns, I'm going to not grant any more extensions, and the fines will just continue to accrue.
And
Okay.
we'll reset it for Massey, and like some of the other cases, the property owner still has that time. Oh, it is a Massey, is it? No?
Oh, no,
It's
sorry.
not. So the property owner still have that time to make that progress.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Our next case is on page 25. Page 25, property address 1401 Riverland Road, case number BE 24080036. Owner Iris V. Rondon.
Thank you.
Silverio Arias, homestead exempted. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 123/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $4,150, which continues to accrue.
Inspector Severino Ionescu, standing in for Andrew Gabia. This case has not complied. There is an open permit for the fence, and a plan set has been submitted for the pergola. Neither permit has been issued. I will allow the respondent to speak. The city does not support an extension at this time.
Please state your name for the record.
Hi, good morning. My name is Iris Rondon, and I've been working with someone to do the permit, but the permit didn't go through. So I would like if you can please give us the extension.
Okay, has the permit been submitted?
Yes, they
The
did.
application's been
Yes.
submitted?
Yes.
Did you get any comments back?
Something went wrong with the application, and they didn't approve it yet because something need to be, sorry, this is not my language, so I tried. So what I read was that like they did my signature and all that without the person in front of me, the one that I call it the stamp that, yes. So, but I was in front of them and my husband also. So I don't know what's going on. I would love to know where can I go to see what's going on with that.
Okay. Do you understand what she's saying? Okay, can you explain to her?
Yeah, so basically, there is an open permit for the fence, and the plans have been submitted.
Okay.
Just, I'm guessing they're waiting on reply from the city, or I don't know exactly what the situation is.
Okay. All right. I'll give you 28 days and suspend the fines during that time.
Thank
But
you, I appreciate it.
You need to stay on it, and if you don't understand what they want from you, you need to ask. That's your obligation to ask for an explanation of what they want from you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Our next case is on page 28. Chief Martinez, page 28. Property address 1455 Holly Heights Drive. Owner, Fusion Gardens Condo Association, Inc. Case number BE 23090290. This case was first heard on 5/23/24 to comply by 7/4/24. One section complied at $100. Total accrued fine $7,000. City is requesting to reduce to administrative costs of $1,275.
Chief Martinez representing the city. The case is in compliance. But gonna allow the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Yamil Rodriguez. I'm the CAM.
Are you in agreement with the reduction to city costs of $1,275?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Anything
Thank
else?
you.
All right. Thank you.
Our next case is on page 15. Senior Inspector Preston Mark. Property address 305 Southwest 19th Street. Owner, J.C. Stornetta, Paul Joseph Burns. Case number BE 24080375. This case was first heard on 3/4/25. I'm sorry. This is a new business case. Notice posted at the property on 3/24/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector, presenting case and address as read. The property was cited for violation under City Ordinance Section 47-19.2.EE. Construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: the construction of a shaded structure trellis at the rear of the property without permits. The case was opened 8/30/24. Inspection report mailed 9/3/24, and special magistrate notice mailed 1/2/25. During my investigation, I did observe that there was a large shaded structure or trellis situated at the back of the home. However, records show no permits was ever pulled for this installation of this structure. I recently spoke with the owner, Toby, who indicated that she is She has not had any luck in finding a contract to do this work, but is still in the process of working this out. The city is requesting that the special magistrate find that violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter. The respondent is here to speak.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Good morning, I'm J.C. Stornetta.
Okay, are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 126 days or face a fine of $50 a day?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Our next case is on page 33. Senior Inspector Alexander Boris, property address 3250 Northeast 28th Street, case number BE 23060035, owner, Les Circle by the Beach Condo Association, Inc. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 3/20/25. Fine suspended as noted. One section not complied at $50.
Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the City, updating you on case number and address as read. The property was cited for violation of City Ordinance 9-280B, building parts which are deteriorated and not maintained, specific to pool equipment, room, and disrepair. The case was created June 7, 2023. Respondent is here to speak.
Hi,
Yes.
please state your name for the record.
The name is Bill Asta. I'm
Okay,
a board
why-
member of La Circula.
Why isn't this property in compliance yet?
Well, we've applied for a permit. It's in process. I noticed it was reviewed by the inspector yesterday. We want to become in compliance, so
Okay. How much time do you asking for?
for which part? To get a permit or to?
Yes, that's what.
To come into compliance.
Pardon me?
To
complete the project?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We're hoping for the 180-day extension as discussed last time.
You don't have a permit right now yet issued.
Is there an issue with the permit? You have it under review at this moment.
Right.
I've noticed,
It was recently submitted.
it's actually been in about 30 days, and I noticed there was some paperwork you were reviewing yesterday under electrical and plumbing.
I
So
spoke with the permit expediter. There's been deficiencies in the permit application.
I
And that's
suppose
why
the answer then would be that it would be 180 days from the date that you approve the permit.
the city supports a 28-day extension.
For compliance of the project or for the permit?
For compliance.
To complete the project?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I feel like that's nearly impossible. Wouldn't you
The
agree?
case was created in 2023, sir.
I understand that, but I'm saying at this point we do have a permit in and we're anxious to start. We want to start the project right away.
Right.
Is there
If
an
you
issue
had
with
an
the
issue
permit?
the city would have supported a 180-day extension so you can complete the project. It's been a year and a half. We only have a permit application that was recently submitted, deficient, by the way. That's why at this time, and it's at this time, the city can only support a 28-day extension.
According to the online service that we looked at for the permit, though, it didn't appear as a deficiency. It appeared that it was under review for electrical and plumbing. I'm not sure what the deficiency would be. I would certainly like to find out. We're
Your Honor,
we're willing to go. We found a contract. I'm sorry.
1 second.
We'd like to hold to the 28 days and perhaps in order to reappear.
Yeah. I'm going to grant the 28 days, but I will ask you to reappear. I'm ordering you to reappear at my May 15th deadline, okay? My May 15th hearing. And that way I can check on the progress, if the permit's been issued, and we'll go from there, okay?
That's very fair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 25. Property address 972 Pennsylvania Ave, case number BE 2406-0087. Owner, Alana Talleyrand, homestead exempted, Espovert Talleyrand. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 1/23/25. One section complied at $50. Total accrued fines $1,250. The city is requesting to reduce to administrative cost of $854.
Severi Ionescu for Andrew Gabia. This case has complied. The city is requesting for fines to be reduced to administrative fees.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Good morning. Spovetarian.
Okay, are you in agreement with the reduction of fines to the administrative cost of $854?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Your Honor, at this time, the city is requesting a 5-minute recess.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience. Our next case is on page 33. Senior Inspector Jose Saragusi, property address 1616 Northeast 16th Ave, owner Coda Perry Realty LLC. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 4/17/25. One section not complied at $50.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, updating the case as read. The case is not compliant. The city requesting the case return as a MASI. I will let the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Two.
Yeah, push. Oh, there you go. There, oops, you're good. Now you're good.
You hear me something or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good morning again. My name is Luis Perez. I came here to represent the owner. The situation here, we already submit all the revision pending for the approval of that permit. We're just waiting for time and ask the inspection, and that's it, because it's not.
Okay, so you're just waiting for the inspection? Is that
No,
the only?
we're waiting for the revision that we already submit to the city to be approved.
Okay.
So we've been back and forward, I don't know,
So
4 or
the
5
city's
times.
not waiting for anything from you?
No.
Okay, all right. All right, 28 days, and I'll suspend the fines during that time.
Okay, I appreciate that,
All right,
Mayor.
thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 30. One second, 3100. Chief Martinez, property address 3100 Northeast 49th Street. Owner Royal Mariner of Fort Lauderdale, Inc. Excuse me. Case number BE 210700127. This case was first heard on 11/18/21 to comply by 5/17/22. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $44,600, which continues to accrue.
Chief Martino representing the city, case and address as read. The case is not in compliance. The permits expired. They had an issue permit, and that was, as today is expired. So city is requesting to impose fines.
Okay. And please state your name for the record.
Compono, president on the board.
Okay. This has been going on since 2021?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And why isn't the property in compliance?
Okay, so the contractor that we had hired, they installed windows, and the windows turned out that they're leaking. We gave them ample time to remediate the windows and the problems. And after that time, the windows were still leaking, so we terminated them and we hired another engineer. And during that time, we've been asking for the permit extensions on and on and on. And then being that the contractor, now we're in a lawsuit with them, so we can't go to them and tell them to extend the permit. So I went down to the building department, I spoke to Victoria Bryant, and I said, Victoria, what do we need to do before the permit expires? And she looked on the computer and she says, your permit's not expired. You still have 180 days. I said, what are you talking about? I says, I'm down here because our permit's about to expire. She goes, no, I'm looking at it right now. I says, well, what about fines? She goes, you don't know any fines. And I said, are you sure? And I had another board member with me just to make sure, because I'm saying, no, the permit's about to expire. She goes, no. And she says, all you need to do is there'll be a $1,275 administrative cost. And I said, you sure? And so she responded back, I have the email, pleasure meeting with you, today as discussed, and then we can extend the permits 180 days at a time.
Can I see that, please?
Sure. And I've got it. So right now we have another engineer. They're putting together the scope of work, and once they get that, we're going to hire another contractor to complete the work.
Okay.
And that's what we're saying.
It's not just the windows that have to be
It was
done.
the concrete portion is fine. Yeah, there was multiple parts of the project.
Okay.
It was just the windows, and we think they were just defective windows, according to our new engineer, where they were manufactured. There
Okay,
was some.
but the concrete restoration is done, past
That's-
inspection?
Yes, that's all completed. Yes.
Your Honor, I mean, we're reviewing what he submitted. This doesn't say what he said. This says that if the extension end date is approaching and work is still underway, you may request another extension. And then at the top, I mean, as discussed, the maximum time we can extend at a time is 180 days. This letter, and so it says for an additional extension, you have to get, as we know, the signed and sealed letter from the architect engineer explaining why an extension is necessary. It has to make mention of an issued permit pertaining to ongoing repairs.
I'm sorry, that's included the engineer letter granting the extension. And they said it couldn't be a wet signature, it had to be an electronic signature. So the next day, the engineer had an electronic signature on it.
But the first issue is that the permit is expired. The second issue is that we never received the engineer letter with requesting the extension. So the city doesn't support no extension, Your Honor, at this moment.
I mean, these emails, Your Honor, don't really encapsulate what the gentleman said at the beginning that was said allegedly by Victoria, that the permit wasn't expired. It doesn't say any of that.
Yeah, I understand that, but this is April 10th, and she's telling him that, good morning, yes, for an additional extension. We require signed and sealed letter from the licensed engineer, which he says has been submitted.
No, Your Honor. No. We don't have any record of that. Plus, the permit is expired. So how the engineer is going to submit a letter when the permit is expired? It needs to be an issue permit.
Right, it says that in her email of Thursday, March 20th, it's in bold, how to submit the letter, but also make mention of an issued permit in bold pertaining to ongoing repairs.
Okay.
So, and once a permit's expired, it's no longer issued. It's expired.
Okay. All right. Well, it appears your permit has expired despite what you've been told. We don't have any record of the engineer submitting the report, but even if we did have the report without the permit, without a valid permit, you still would not be in compliance. Do you understand?
Or entitled to the additional time.
Or entitled to the additional extension.
All right. So on the email, I'm sorry. Victoria said, "Oh, thank you for coming in." I went down there because I knew the permit was about to expire. That's why I went down there, just to make sure I was in compliance with everything. So maybe she read something wrong. I don't know, but I was, I went physically down there with another board member, and even the other board member was saying, that doesn't seem right. And he says, "Joe, I asked 5 times to Victoria, are you sure this permit's not expired?"
Excuse me, but that's not what is written on the email that you told us at the beginning, that she's playing it on an email. That email says different. She's just telling you that in order for you to obtain an extension, you got to provide an engineer letter with an issue permit, and then we give you 180 days, and that's not what is written on that email.
I know. I have the... Again, you see the engineer's letter?
No, there is no an engineer letter with an issue permit, like per Bora 0505. You have to have an engineer expedite letter with an issue permit. The permit is expired, so we don't support no extension, Your Honor.
So, again, I'm going to need that, so say the permit is
To be in compliance, you have to have both the letter.
from the
which
engineer.
You're saying it's been submitted and signed online and whatever.
Yes, I have that.
Okay, and he's saying, could you show that letter to him?
Yes.
But again, Your Honor, and engineers, I mean, this is not a new program, and it's not a new program for Broward County. It's been around for decades.
Right.
Engineers should know what the process is. First of all, you've got an expired permit. So this case has been around since 2021, and the repairs have not been completed because the permit's expired. That's number one. Number two, again, and not to be overly repetitive, but try to say it one last time, an engineer can submit a signed and sealed letter all day, but unless there is appended to it an active, yes, valid permit, then we cannot offer another 180-day extension. So necessarily, any submission by an engineer would be deficient and not meet the program requirements because there's not an active permit. So now at this juncture, the permit needs to be reactivated to active status. Definitely be suggesting that the work get finished, and then once that permit is active, the engineer can provide the signed and sealed letter that references the active valid permit, and then 180 days can be granted.
So we have a new engineer, obviously. The old one was terminated with the contractor. Like I said, there's a litigation case going on now, and we're involved with that. As a matter of fact, they're coming out next week to put together the scope of work and continue on with the work with the windows. And then Mr. Martinez said, oh, we have to get the transfer. Once we find that contractor, we do the transfer of that same permit, correct?
Your Honor, I explained to him they need to do a change of contractor. So there are so many things that needs to be completed.
Yeah.
You know,
And I'm going to let him talk to you after the hearing if you still have questions. But the bottom line here is, in order to give you a further extension, I need not only the report, but I need a valid permit. I don't have a valid permit. So I'm going to grant the city's motion to impose the fines. You will have an opportunity to come back and address the fines at a later date. You can go through the amnesty procedure, which would reduce the fines greatly, like to 10%.
All right.
But without, you know, this has been going on since 2021.
Yes.
There's only so much I could do for you.
Absolutely. It's like this was only supposed to be a one-year project, but with the windows leaking and the delays and the testing, and we had to call in statistician, it's just been a nightmare.
Believe me, I understand that it's a difficult process.
So what's my next step?
Well, I'll let
I explained it to you. You need to come to the city, do a change of contractor, fill out the application, and after you get the permit issue again, then you can provide us a letter that at least will stop the fines.
Okay.
Okay? All right. And then you will get 180 days to complete the project without fines.
How did it become $44,000?
And that's something that I mean, that's the amount of days that it hasn't been without compliance. It's a case from 2021.
But the permit was always...
No, there was some missing time during the process that's why you accrue that amount of money.
Because you were supposed to comply by May 17th, 2022.
And we are on 2025.
That should have been the contractor then who would have...
That's something now that we don't have the details to explain.
All right, but we'll talk when we get things on the...
Thank you,
okay.
Honor.
All right, thank you.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good luck.
Our next case is on page 26 at the bottom. Property address 2109 Northeast 62nd Street. Inspector Andrew Gebbia. Owner, De Casa & Co. LLC. Case number BE 2407-0147. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 123/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $4,150, which continues to accrue.
Inspector Severianescu for Andrew Gebbia. This case has not complied. The city is requesting the fines to be imposed. Plans have been submitted for the master and sub permits for this case, but not yet issues. They are awaiting client reply. I will allow the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Hi, Your Honor. My name is Priscilla. So basically, we've been working on complying and giving all the information requested. We have been facing a little bit of a delay with the contractor providing this, and my husband and I have been on top of him, consecutively to get him to submit things quite fast. Once we submit, it does seem like there's additional comments for things that wasn't done. The last part of it, what we're waiting on, from my understanding, is that we needed to supply a digital signature, and that wasn't done digitally. And so we've gone back to ask for that, but that seems to be like the last leg of it. And we've just been trying our very best to be, in communication and returning everything that's been requested. If there's something additional, to chase after that. But we have been in the favor of our contractor to move quickly, and sometimes that has not happened. So my apologies on the delay. If there's anything that you can do, I believe that we can possibly close this within the next 2 weeks.
All right, I'm going to give 14-day, give you 14 days and suspend the fines during that time, but you're going to have to then come back to address the fines that have already accrued.
Okay, so you can't suspend.
Fines that when the property's still not in compliance.
So once into compliance, we can come back and
Address the
revisit.
fines, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Our next case is on page 24. Senior Inspector Preston Mark, property address 2436 Okeechobee Lane. Owner Francisco Zepeda, case number BE 2405-0196. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 2/20/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $2,750, which continues to accrue. No? Okay. Moving on to page 21. Senior Inspector Mary Rich, property address 125 North Birch Road. Owner Springbrook Gardens, Inc., A condo, case number BE 2306-0052. This case was first heard on 10/19/23 to comply by 1/18/24. Fine suspended as noted. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $9,050, which continues to accrue.
Good morning, Your Honor. Senior Inspector Rich for the City of Fort Lauderdale Building Services. Case and address RS Red. This is a Massey case, and the violation and the property is not in compliance at this time. I'll let the respondent speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Yes, good morning. My name is Thomas Murphy. I'm president of Springbrook Gardens, 125 North Birch Road.
Okay, and why is the property still not in compliance?
Well, it's a long story, but basically, we vacated the building back on November 4th. We came to the conclusion as a community that the repairs to the building far exceeded our monetary. So the community decided to vacate the building. Our engineers sent a notice to the city. And now we're in the termination phase of dissolving the building, which will be completed on April 24th at our annual meeting. We did do an extensive amount of work prior to this. We did do a $335,000 special assessment to get the building going, but as it became very clear that the total cost of fixing this building was well beyond our means. Unfortunately, we all had to vacate, and a lot of us are suffering financially. We have there's only 17 unit owners, and most of them are older, and they are having a very hard time right now. We're paying our HOA, I pay a pool company, I pay a cleaning company to keep the grounds good, to be a good neighbor. I go there myself regularly to make sure everything's all right. but it's been very difficult on everybody. So I'm just asking for some kind of forgiveness. I mean, we did everything. The city was great to us. When we had to vacate that day on September, this gentleman and Mr. Kramer from the buildings, they came, they offered all kinds of assistance to me, trying to make me understand the process. I did hire 2 new engineers to overturn the original engineer's report that the building was unsafe. We installed temporary shoring in the foundation. I have a contractor that's still on record to this day. They go there once a week and they inspect the shoring, and the contractor updates me. So we're doing everything we possibly can. We just don't have...
When is the meeting to dissolve the condo association?
April 24th, 10 o'clock in the morning. And the termination papers are being sent out, FedEx, and being returned by FedEx to the title company.
Okay, I guess, what happens if the condo association is then no longer in existence?
And the building is for sale. That helps you.
I mean, someone's going to own it. I don't know who owns it, but maybe the individual unit owners. I'm not an expert in condo law, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I know, it's a crazy situation. It gets
really
crazier
is,
every day.
and one that's, I'll be honest, has never come before me before, where the...
Yeah, so we've been working with the city very closely. We keep them informed of anything, any changes. And they've been very good to us.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a 28-day extension so you can have your meeting.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask you to reappear on my May 15th docket.
Sure.
Okay?
Great.
And tell me the status. And maybe in the meantime, we can figure out if that will change.
So I did a little quick research. Under Florida Statute 718.117, once the condo is dissolved, then all of the owners become, the individual unit owners become owners of the property, including the common areas.
So we'd have to substitute the individual owners. Okay.
Yep. They'd all be jointly and severally responsible.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to give 28 days and ask you to reappear on my May 15th docket. And if the condo association is dissolved, the city may move forward in naming each condo owner individually. I don't know. See what's before me on the 28th.
So we're going to get rid of the board also at that time and switch over to trustees for the sale of the building. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you want me to bring you anything in regards to that, or...
Well, just, let me know what happens at that meeting. Are you going to, I don't envy you.
You should join one of these meetings.
Yeah. You can let me know that the board's been dissolved. So if there's there's no longer someone able to act, then that's...
Any documentation, when you come back,
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and...
Yeah, if you have minutes of the meeting, that would be helpful.
Sure, this is Jordan Ford, he's our property manager. He does monitor the meetings.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So are we still incurring fines at this time? I mean, just explain to me.
I'm going to suspend the fines right now for the last, till the 28 days is up. And then we'll revisit it when you come back.
Whatever help you can give us, that'll be great for us, really.
right.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Our next case is on page 16. Senior Inspector Preston Mark. Property address 1017 Southwest 19th Street. Owner Sharon Duncan. Case number BE 2408-0288. Notice posted at the property on 3/24/25. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 4325.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under City Ordinance Section 47-19.2.EE, construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to construction of a covered utility shed at the rear of the property. The case was opened 8/22/24, inspection report mailed 8/23/24, and the special magistrate notice mailed 1/6/25. During my investigation, we observed that there was a shaded structure installed at the back of the home. However, no records show that there was a permit issued for this work. I've had several conversations with the owner, Sharon Duncan, who was here to share some additional information to the magistrate. She indicated that she has hired a contractor and is in the process of pulling permits, which I can confirm. At this point, the city is requesting that the magistrate find the violations exist and to grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Yes, I'm Sharon Duncan, the homeowner.
Okay, are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 126 days or face a fine of $50 a day?
Yes. And also, I just wanted to add that I filed complaints against the individual who represented himself as a contractor with the Florida Department of Professional Regulation. So I have cases open. They have found that that illegal construction occurred, and so they're serving administrative complaints against both of the individuals as well. So I appreciate that you guys, believe it or not, gave me the code violation because I had no idea. Yeah. I signed a contract with an individual to do renovations on my home, and it came as a complete surprise to me to get a code violation for some of the work.
Okay, all right. So. I'm glad you make that complaint because it's a problem that is recurring all the time in this area. So I'm glad you made the complaint. 126 days should be sufficient, but if you run into a problem, make sure you contact the inspector to request an additional extension. And we work with people if they give us good cause and they're not abusing the process, okay?
Okay,
all
great.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you.
Our next case is on page 19, Senior Inspector Preston Mark. Property address 1826 Southwest 29th Street. Owner, Glenn P. Henry, Timothy Henry. Case number BE 24080264. Notice posted at the property on 3/11/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. The property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 2023-105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits. In the following manner, but not limited to the interior model of the home, including kitchen, bath, and also the installation of a rear shed or trellis, and the installation of new windows. The case was opened 8/21/24. Inspection report mailed 8/22/24. Special magistrate notice mailed 1/2/25. I visited the property but was unable to get access to the home. However, during my investigation, I did obtain evidence that the interior of the home was remodeled, including the new windows, a kitchen, bathrooms, and also a trellis installed. There was also a shed and an aluminum roof structure installed at the property. Our records show no permits were ever pulled for this work. We've had several conversations with the owner, Timothy Henry, who has stated that he is in the process of removing the trellis and a covered patio. To date, he has not submitted any applications for the remodeling of the interior. The city is requesting that magistrate find that the violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter. The respondent is here to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Timothy Henry.
Okay, Mr. Henry, are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 126 days or face a fine of $50 a day?
Absolutely. So I inherited all these issues and problems that I had no idea about. There was permits that even dated back from like 2012 on this property, and I was going to go after the title company. I have several properties, and I manage a lot of properties, and this is one of those really weird situations of things that was done. And he's been great, and I think we're like friends now. I call him and say like, I'm in recovery, and I'm well aware of sober livings. I'm FAR certified, and I have like 20 properties nationwide under a non-for-profit. So I've started from the beginning of learning a lot about this stuff. So I know the more communication, the better. Sometimes I'm sure he's probably like this guy again, but we're gonna fix it. I have a contractor on it, and it's under. Let me see what his name. I never even met this guy. I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things in trust and send money, and hopefully it gets done, or I then get really angry.
Yeah, but you're the one who's going to end up being responsible if
Yep,
he's
absolutely.
not licensed.
But
if he's not-
so we're going to permit the shed. It's Hugh Anglin Engineering and Associates. As far as the bathrooms, I talked to Inspector Mark. I actually put GFIs in all the bathrooms just in case. I know where there's water that needs to be GFIs. All this stuff was already done. The outdoor kitchen, I wish I kept it. It was part of the sale. They took it. But everything done in there has already been done. And I was one of the people that went under contract the day before the 100-year flood came. And I had to fix walls and do stuff, which is not permitted work, but I got no help from
All right, just
FEMA
make
or
sure
anything.
you get those permits. That's
Yep,
what you need
no
to do
problem.
with 126 days.
Hopefully by next week I'm done with this, though.
Okay, good.
Good?
All right, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Have a good
Take
day.
care.
Senior Inspector Jose Saragusi, property address 1650 Southwest 20th Street, owner Shirley A. and Matthew A. Sandler, case number BE 2408-0298, notice posted at the property on 3625, notice posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. These properties have been cited under City Ordinance 47-19.2.8 for several shade structures in the backyard and Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit for shade structures. The case was opened on August 23, 2024. Inspection report was made on August 28, 2024. Final notice was made on October 1st, 2024. Notice of hearing was made on January 2nd, 2025. No contact with the property owner and no permit issues. We are asking the magistrate to find that the violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter. I will let the respondent to speak.
Okay. Please state your name for the record.
Shirley Sandler.
Good morning, Ms. Sandler. Are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 126 days?
Can I say something first?
Sure.
Okay, he said there's been no contact. I have called him several times. He never returns calls. I was in contact with Joe via email, in which he clearly said for me to go to zoning to verify that permits were needed for these shade structures. I went to zoning like I was told, and this is the second time that I was told you do not need a permit for these shade structures. So he instructed him to verify that and that the case was closed. And then in January, I get a notice to be here.
Okay. Joe?
Are we referring to temporary tents? I'm sorry,
I have a copy of the email here from where you said that, if you want to see it. They do not issue permits for these things.
because in many cases they're not permitted. I mean, it's not because they're not required. So a permit would not be issued not because it's not required, it's because they would not be permitted.
It was not explained to me that way. I was told it's a temporary structure and you do not need a permit for it. They never said you can only have it at this house or you can only have it at that house.
It would qualify as a temporary structure if it was up for less than 180 days, but that's not the case here. These things have been installed up for...
Not the same ones consistently. No, that's not true.
But
They only last for so long, and whenever you have to change the tarp, you don't have to get a permit for a new roof.
But ma'am, these structures, not to mention that they're an eyesore, they're multiple structures that are there for years. So
They're way in the back.
So it's not a temporary. A temporary structure would be something that you would install for a couple of hours or a couple days, perhaps for an outdoor event in your backyard, but not something that would be permanent.
No, these things are all over the neighborhood. People park their vehicles under them for shade purposes. That a couple days, that's just not
Yes,
true.
and they're not allowed.
That's just not true.
And we regularly take cases like this to special magistrate, and I also had the pleasure of sitting on the Board of Adjustment for a period of time on behalf of the interim city attorney, and yes, variance requests would often come forward for shade structures such as this, and they were not approved because, as the assistant building official said, unfortunately, they're not permitted. So if they're not permitted, then they're not permittable.
Okay, so
why was he telling me to get a permit then?
Because there is an option where you can go get a variance, not to say that, so there is that option. Unfortunately.
How can you get a variance for something that's not permitted, that's not allowed?
That's what a variance is. It's to, if there's extenuating circumstances, if there's a hardship, there's a possibility. We can't not provide you that option.
Okay.
I think this is a situation where there's just too many different departments involved and nobody actually knows what the truth is.
Wait a second. I'm having a little difficulty with the fact that they've been charged with constructing it without a permit, and if there's no permit allowed because it's not permitted, then how could
you expect to get a permit?
Exactly. Because again, and the city absolutely knows what it's doing, because again, as Joe said, you can go to the Board of Adjustment and present circumstances. I mean, the board, again, I haven't sat on there for years and years, but, you know, they can grant variances. That's what they're there for. And then you would be entitled to get a permit because of the variance.
Okay.
So you have to explore that possibility of, is it allowed in that zoning district? Is it maybe it has to be smaller and it could be permittable? You know, again, there's a lot of factors that go into it, and that's explored when you go through the process with the Board of Adjustment, the variance process. They advise property owners what they can do, what they can't do, and then ultimately, again, some owners choose to go forward, some are granted, some are modified, some are denied.
None of that was explained to me when I went to the zoning department. All I was told was you do not need a permit for this, it's temporary.
Did you receive that information from the chief zoning inspector? Do you have that?
Mike Rinkus. I spoke to him in person.
Okay.
Mike Rinkus.
Okay, could you, let's have a conversation offline.
I emailed you about that.
Okay, again, I handle hundreds of cases. Let's have a conversation offline, and we'll open up dialogue between myself, yourself, and Mike Rinkus and clarify what his direction was.
But at this point, basically you're saying that doesn't matter because you don't issue permits for them. So.
Again, my suggestion would be for us to have this conversation offline where we could explore options.
My suggestion is that we withdraw the case right now. We're going to withdraw it, and then we'll let that dialogue happen. I'm sending a group email to all the folks, and then we'll bring it back if we need to.
Okay. Case has been withdrawn.
How many structures are we referring to?
Yes. 4.
4? Are they? What are they? Awning, fabric?
No,
pop-up tents.
Tarps. Yeah.
Huh?
Tarps.
Regular tarps.
In the back of the yard. And
Way in the back.
Okay.
And they're not an eyesore because they're new tarps.
No.
Yeah, so there's nothing here from the city that says no permit. The property owner is just saying that she spoke to Mike Rinkus, showed a picture, and he said no permit, but nothing from the city.
Okay, so what you need to do is to contact Joe again, set up a meeting with the person that you spoke to, so you can all get on the same page. In the meantime, the city's going to withdraw the case until that happens, and they can see if it could be risen. So no violation exists right now, and they'll try to work with you. No fines. No fines. No. Yeah, it's like it never happened. They're going to try to work with you, and we'll see where we go from there, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 2. Chief Martinez, property address 920 Northwest 1st Street. Owner Victory Investments and More, LLC. Case number BE24070130. Notice posted at the property on 3/4/25. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Chief Martinez, representing the city, case and address as read. Your Honor, they provide the report, but something was missing, like a payment or something.
Okay.
So at this moment, we are requesting only 42 days.
Okay.
Extension of $100 per day thereafter.
Okay.
After we review the report, and I know by what he showed me, repairs are required, then we will extend that 42 days to 180 days.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
I'm going to allow the respondent to speak.
All right. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Melissa Diaz.
All right. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. 42 days or $100 a day thereafter, but in the meantime, you guys will work this out, I'm sure.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 18. Page 18, Senior Inspector Preston Mark. Property address 1640 Northwest 5th Ave. Owner AIM Partners, LLC. Is there anyone here for 1640? Our next case is on page 26. Inspector Andrew Gebbia, property address 1506 Southwest 32nd Street. Owner Ashley Ty Johnson, Rickman Johnson. Case number BE2409-0110. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 123/25. One section not complied at $50. Total accrued fines $4,150. The city is requesting to vacate the final order from 11/21/24.
Yes.
1506 Southwest 32nd Street.
This is Inspector Severian Ionescu standing in for Andrew Gabia. This building has complied. The city is requesting to vacate the order.
Okay. Please state your name for the record.
Rickman Johnson.
Okay. I assume you have no problem with vacating my prior order?
Absolutely not.
All right. So ordered.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next case is on page 22. Senior Inspector Alexander Abores. Property address 4008 Northeast 21st Ave. Case number BE24010078. Owner Racine Koursing and David Ocon. This case was first heard on 6/20/24 to comply by 9/19/24. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $10,450, which continues to accrue.
Alexander Abores, Building Inspector for the city, updating you on case number and address as read. The property was cited for violation of Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, work without permit. Case is not complied. The respondent is here to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is David Ocon. I'm actually the previous owner of the property. It was closed on 2/14/225, about 63 days ago. I'm still receiving notices under me and my wife's name. Mr. Albers, so we spoke, and I'm trying to help the new owners out. They're new to this process. The property was sold because of I've hired 3 engineering firms to do all the sub-trades, top to bottom, from microfilm. It's taken them over a year because of all the new condo reserve requirements that are being started in 2025. It took so long. I had a mortgage on it. I decided to sell the property. It's going to be my first homestead. I had a baby that was born prematurely 3 months earlier. I was planning to be living in the house already. Sold the property. Lost $100,000+. Anyways, I sold the property 2 months ago. I don't know if I can get a suspension of fines or backdated fines from the closing date. I don't know why I'm still receiving these notices. The engineers have submitted all the plans, and it's right now in permit revision review. Hopefully, there's no more comments or revisions or back and forth, and I made it very clear to them to do it with a fine-tooth comb.
Okay.
I'm asking for a 91-day extension just in case. I hope the city looks at the permits quickly and issues them. I don't even know why I'm involved at this point. I'm not the owner anymore. It was sold as is. Everything was disclosed.
All right, I get it.
The city supports 91-day extension and hold the fines during this time period.
Does the case have to be brought in the new owner's name?
We'll transfer it, Your Honor, to the new owner's name.
You could keep it in my name till
We'll
now,
transfer it.
but
Yeah, it'll be transferred
That's
to the
fine.
new owner.
It'll be transferred.
because they don't know what they're doing, so I'm just, since I'm at the final stage, I was going to help them anyways, but that's fine. I rather my wife gets these
so
notices.
they have 91 days, and it'll be transferred to them in the meantime.
Okay. And this may not be the right moment, but I have a question on another special magistrate case on the same property.
I can't hear anything on any case that's not on my docket. You can ask one of the inspectors, possibly.
But that inspector for that case is not here today.
You're going to have to call them.
But it's a recorded lien already. That's why I wanted to see if I could speak with you already.
Nothing I could do
Okay.
about that if it's not on my docket.
That's fine. And then just a quick question. When I applied to lien amnesty program, will they be able to backdate all these fines that I've been receiving back,
we don't backdate
to the date of closing
No,
and
we don't
transfer
backdate.
ownership?
Yeah, well, nobody's going to be able to apply for amnesty till the property's under.
Right.
And then, by then, I mean, you don't own the property anymore, so I don't think you'd have standing to apply for amnesty.
No.
I can't apply. Yeah, correct. But when I do apply eventually, would they be able to backdate the
No, we
fines
don't backdate. I've already said that. We don't.
that I received after the date of closing?
I just told you.
Fifth time, no.
Okay.
You
No
cannot
backdating.
apply for amnesty until.
I understand that part.
Yes, until the property is in compliance, and only the owner can apply for amnesty.
Right, and there's no backdating for now the fifth time. No backdating, sir. Nothing. No backdating. No.
Okay, so
we don't alter public records.
So all these fines I've been receiving under my name for the past year and a half, the owner has to apply for those?
They buy subject to whatever's going on. So
Well, it's interesting because it was a warranty deed with no exceptions under it. So it wasn't really an as-is sale. It was a warranty deed.
There was an addendum with
Yeah.
with provisions that I would.
That's going to be between him and.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's private. There was an escrow addendum that I would, an escrow holdback money that I would help them fix and close the permits for them and help them throughout the
Except
process.
the warranty deed said that the land is free of all encumbrances. So technically, that's.
Well, because there was an escrow holdback put in
All right,
place. That's
well,
why.
that's between you and them.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So the names will be transferred then.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Our next case is also on page 22, Senior Inspector Alexander Boris. Property address 1560 Northeast 4th Ave. Owner Bernard Cherisol. Case number BE 24080369. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 123/25. Fine suspended as noted. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $5,500, which continues to accrue.
Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, updating you on case number and address as read. This property was cited for violation of Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1, for change of use without the required permits and interior alteration without permits, including but not limited to tenant separation walls, partially removed between units, walk-in cooler, unit 1546. The case is not yet compliant. Records show that permit application BLD-GEN-25030396 has been submitted, and the respondent is here to speak.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Bernard Cherison. Your Honor, I have the GC here with me. We do take some step.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Good morning, ma'am. Mohammed Islam with the Diamante Construction.
Okay, can you tell me what's going on?
Yes, ma'am. Last time when I appeared, I submitted the permits application and there was some comments, so I had get the engineer to correct all those and resubmitted the plans, and we separated like the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, so it's applied for the sub-permits, so everything is in the system, and I'm just waiting for the plan review to go through, and if any other comment they have, maybe anything they need, I will provide all those things. So we're in the process of going through a plan review right now, ma'am.
Okay.
City supports a 28-day extension to hold the fines and a mandatory reappearance in 28 days.
Okay. All right, so do you have any objection to that 28-day extension? We'll suspend the fines during that period, and you'll reappear on my May 15th docket to give me a progress report.
No problem. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Our next case is on page 10. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 720 Southwest 14th Terrace, case number BE24070397. Owner, David Ignacio Palladino, Alejandra Cristina Rosero. Notice posted at the property on 3/13/25, posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: a new fence and a driveway. The city will request 126 days to comply, or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Please state your name for the record.
Ignacio Palladino.
Okay. Are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within the next 126 days or face a fine of $50 a day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your Honor, this concludes all of our respondents. Going back to page 2, Chief Martinez, property address 716 Southwest 16th Ave, 1-5. Owner, DDD Global Investment LLC, in care of Saul Ewing, Arnstein, and Lair LLP. Case number BE24070067. Notice posted at the property on 3/18/25, posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard, 4325.
Tacha is 716, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, thanks. Chief Martinez, representing the city, case and address as read. The required safety inspection report has not been completed. The city is asking for the owner to come into compliance by submitting the report in the next 42 days, or fines of $100 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Moving on to page 3, Senior Inspector Alexander Boris, property address 470 Montana Avenue, case number BE24090045, owner Gordon Herman. Notice posted at the property on 3/13/25, posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard, 4325.
Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case number and address as read. The property was cited for violation of Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1, work without permit for dock and railings. This case was opened on 9/6/2024. Record shows no permit application as of 4/16/2025. City is requesting for the magistrate to find the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter, and for the final order to be recorded.
Your Honor, I would suggest a fine of $100 a day that we're going to close in on a year sooner than later. It's been about 9 months since the violation was sent to the property owner who's not present.
Okay. All right, 126 days or $100 a day thereafter.
Okay. Moving on to page 4. Property address 2417 East Las Olas Boulevard. Owner, Unique Critique 2 LLC. Case number BE 24080101. Notice posted at the property on 3/6/25. Posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case number and address as read. There are expired permits related to this property as stated in today's agenda. Required inspections were not scheduled and the permit was left to expired. City is requesting 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 5. Inspector Andrew Gebbia. Property address 300 Northeast 4th Street. Owner, Dependable Equities LLC. Case number BE 24100155. Notice posted at the property on 3/6/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Inspector Severina Ionescu, standing in for Andrew Gavia. This property was cited in violation of Florida Building Code 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining required permits in the following manner: new asphalt parking lot and the installation of artificial turf. This case was opened on 10/25/24. Inspection report sent in 10/28/24. Special magistrate notice 1/8/25. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $100 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 640 Northeast 17th Way. Case number BE 24100156. Owner, Thomas Woodcock. Notice posted at the property on 3/6/25. Posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Severina Ionescu, standing in for Andrew Gabia. This property was citing for violation under Florida Building Code 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining required permits in the following manner: new shade structure pergola. This case was opened on 10/29/24. Inspection report was mailed 10/29/24. Special magistrate notice 2/4/25. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violations exist and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 6. Property address 1420 Southwest 33rd Court. Owner, John Howard. Case number BE 24090163. Notice posted at the property on 3/11/25. Posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Severina Ionescu, standing in for Andrew Gabia. This property was cited in violation of Florida Building Code 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining required permits in the following manner, but not limited to fence and accessory structure. This case was opened on 10/24/24. Inspection report was mailed 10/26/24. Special magistrate notice was mailed 1/2/25. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 7. Property address 241 Southwest 21st Street. Case number BE 24080254. Owner, Catherine M. and Isidro Garcia. Notice posted at the property on 3/24/25. Posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard, 4/3/25.
I don't have that one.
I'm sorry, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti.
I got one more.
You have one more?
Yeah. This one.
That's a mess.
I'm done. Okay.
Oh. Jose?
You're up.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under City Ordinance 47-19.2.a for multiple structures throughout the property, and Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit for multiple structures. The case was opened in August 20, 2024. Inspection report was made on August 22, 2024. Final notice was made on September 29, 2024. Notice of hearing was made on January 1, 2025. I have been in contact with the property owner, and they told me that they are in the process to remove the sheds. We are asking the Magistrate to find the violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance, or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 804 Southwest 22nd Terrace, owner Sonia Wright Grant, case number BE 24060049. Notice posted at the property on 3/18/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit. Carport enclosure and converted into a bedroom and bathroom. This case was opened on July 10, 2024. Inspection report was made on July 17, 2024. Final notice was made on December 2, 2024. Notice of hearing was made on January 2, 2025. I have been in contact with the property owner in the permitting process. We are asking the Magistrate to find the violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance, or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
On to page 8 at the bottom, property address 1613 Northwest 11th Ave, owner Carlos Martinez, case number BE 24080125. Notice posted at the property on 3/4/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105 for work without permit. Complete renovation, including kitchen, bathroom, mechanical, electrical panel, plumbing, and new panel. High hats all around, and hood in the island with stove. The case was opened in August 12, 2024. Inspection report was made on August 14, 2024. Final notice was made on October 14, 2024. Notice of hearing was mailed on January 2, 2025. We have been in contact with the general contractor regarding this property and their permit in process. We are asking the Magistrate to find that the violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance, or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 9, property address 1709 Northeast 15th Ave, 1-4, case number BE 24070092, owner Quocation LLC. Notice posted at the property 3/6/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Saragusti on behalf of the city presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 111.1 for property duplex converted to fourplex without certificate of occupancy, and Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit. The case was opened July 10, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on July 16, 2024. Final notice was mailed on September 19, 2024. Notice of hearing was mailed January 2, 2025. We have been in contact with the property owner and there are permits in process. We are asking the magistrate to find the violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 10, property address 832, Northeast 16th Terrace. Owner J51 LLC. Case number BE24040169. Notice posted at the property on 3625. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Martinez on behalf of the city presenting case as read. Property converted from a triplex to a 5-unit building without obtaining the certificate of use. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
How many days?
126.
Okay. Thank you. So ordered.
Property address 909 Southwest 16th Street. Case number BE24080326. Owner George R. Pope, John H. Weigel Jr. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Martinez on behalf of the city presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to new windows and new AC. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 11, property address 1000 Southwest 29th Street, 1-2. Owner Latrell Baker, case number BE24080064. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Martinez on behalf of the city presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: carport has been enclosed, new windows and doors. City will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 1010 Southwest 30th Street, 1-2. Case number BE24080206. Owner Tevin D. Gray. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: a new driveway. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 1021 Southwest 29th Street. Owner Adriana P. and Robert A. Mercado. Case number BE24080147. Notice posted at the property on 3/24/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Martinez on behalf of the city presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: bathroom and kitchen remodel, multiple mini splits, closing of exterior door opening, new windows and doors. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 12, property address 1140 Southwest 30th Street, A-C. Case number BE24080208. Owner Huapi LLC. Notice posted at the property on 3/11/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
Inspector Martinez on behalf of the city presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to new AC and new windows. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
13, property address 1415 Southwest 30th Street, owner Andrew Holland, case number BE 24080346. Notice posted at the property on 3/11/25, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard on 4/3/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: new paved driveway in swell. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 14, property address 1812 Southwest 30th Street, owner Patsy Saros Livingston, case number BE 24080273. Notice posted at the property on 3/11/25, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard on 4/3/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: new windows and doors, kitchen and bathroom renovation. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 3461 Southwest 16th Street, owner Barbara C. Salas and Alejandro Vega, case number BE 24070173. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: shaded structure, a flat roof, shed, PVC fence, concrete on the back and side of the patio. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 6405 Northeast 18 Terrace, owner Jordan Bluestein, case number BE 24070415. Notice posted at the property on 3/4/25, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard on 4/3/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: a new shed. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 15, property address 641 Northwest 14th Ave, owner Oasis of Hope Community Development Corp. Inc., case number BE 25010049. Notice posted at the property on 3/4/25, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the City, presenting case and address is read. There are several expired permits related to this property. As stated in today's agenda, the case is not complied. The city is requesting 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 641 Northwest 14th Ave.
What about 720?
That's one I just did, sorry.
That's what-
Property address
You just
720
did that one.
Northwest 22nd Road, owner Carmen Anita Shirley, case number BE 24080062. Notice posted at the property on 3/4/25, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the City, presenting case and address is read. The corrective action, which includes the issuance of the required permits, have been satisfied. The case, however, is not complied due to the fact that the demolition of the property must be completed. The city is requesting that an extension of 126 days be given to comply with the completion of the demolition or a fine of $100 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Yeah, 100 a day.
16, property address 837 Southwest 26th Street, case number BE 24070076, owner Stephen McManus, Rachel Malpas. Notice posted at the property on 3/6/25, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard, 4/3/25.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the City, presenting case and address is read. This property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to the interior model, including kitchen and bathrooms. The case was opened 7/9/24. Inspection report mailed 11/1/24. There was also a change in ownership, and the special magistrate notice was mailed 1/24/25. During our investigation, we did obtain evidence that the entire home was remodeled, and including the kitchen and bathrooms. There was also a second illegal unit at the rear of the property. However, on 9/19/24, I visited the property and confirmed that this second unit was returned back to its original form, and that violation number 2, under the Florida Building Code 2023, 111.1.1 for illegal conversion has complied. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 1004 Southwest 19th Street, case number BE 24080113. Owner Patrick Collins, Zachary A. Collins. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 4325.
President Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits. The work included the installation of a covered pergola, electric panel change, and the remodel of the kitchen and bathrooms. The case was opened 8/9/24, inspection report mailed 8/12/24, and special magistrate notice mailed 1/6/25. During our investigation, we did obtain evidence that the interior of the home was remodeled, including the kitchen and the bathrooms. There was also a covered pergola at the back of the home, which included an electrical panel change in the laundry room area. Our record showed no permits for this work. We've had several conversations with the owner, Zachary Collins, who's in the process of getting permits to comply this case. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 17, property address 1139 North Rio Vista Boulevard, case number BE 24080110. Owner John C. Meditz. Notice posted at the property on 3/6/25, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 4325.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 105.1. Work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to the installation of the remodeling, of 2 bathrooms, and also the sewer repair, and also the replacement of the sidewalk. The case was opened 8/9/24. Inspection report mailed 8/9/24. Special magistrate notice mailed 1/22/25. I visited the property to investigate the complaint as noted. I also met with the owner, Anthony Ferrella, who indicated that he has hired a plumbing contractor. He hired a plumbing contractor to repair the sewer drain. However, the permits were not yet issued. At that point, I issued a stop work order, and at present, the permit has been issued and the work completed. Permit number was PLB MISC 240502277. The owner also gave me access to inspect the interior of the home, at which time I noticed that 2 of the bathrooms leading to the sewer repair was remodeled. I checked records and noticed that there were no permits ever pulled for this work. I've had several follow-up conversations with the current contractor who's in the process of pulling permits. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Southwest 25th Ave, owner Juan Alberto Rodriguez, homestead exempted Nivea Rodriguez, case number BE 2408-0037, notice posted at the property on 3625, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 4325.
President Mark, Bill Inspector for the city presenting case and address is read. The property was cited for violation under the City Code
What page is he on?
Ordinance Section 47-19.2.EE, construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits. There were construction of several utility structures and covered shaded structures on the property. The case was opened 8/22/24, mailed inspection report mailed 8/23/24, and special magistrate notice mailed 1/6/25. During my visit to the property, I observed that there were multiple structures installed that were in violation of the city ordinance. Our records show that there were no permits for this work. I've had several conversations with the contractor, Sergio, who indicated that the owner has removed two of the sheds at the rear, but is in the process of permitting two shaded structures for his vehicles at the front of the home. I also spoke with the owner's daughter, Maddie, who indicated that her father was not well and as a result was unable to attend this hearing. The city is requesting for the magistrate to find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
At this time, Your Honor, we have a late respondent, so we're going to move to page 34. Property address 1661 Southwest 32nd Court, owner Sebastian Barrett, case number BE 2407-0086. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 4/17/25. One section not complied at $50.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, updating the case as read. This case is not comply. The city is requesting the case return as a masi. I will let the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record. Okay, Mr. Barrett, why is this taking so long?
Sebastian Barrett. Okay, sorry. So when I bought the property, I was unaware of the open permits at that point in time, and so I've been in coordination with the realtor and whoever did the renovation to the property to try to get that done. However, I've been trying to call them. I have no actual contact with the builders, I guess. So I'm going through the realtor to have that communication. The last communication I had with her, if you don't mind, it was, I tried calling her this morning, but before that it was on March 21st, where she was letting me know she needs to see the AC units. Outside of that, I'm not fully aware of what the issues are with the property. So I don't know if there's a place where I can go to get that, because it looks like they're kind of dragging their feet.
All right. Can you explain to him what the problems are with the property?
Yes. It's a complete, he bought the house with a complete renovation, new windows, doors, structural works, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, new AC system, concrete deck and pergola. A complete renovation, and he bought the house without any idea that it was the violation.
Okay.
At this point, he trusts in the people who sell the house and the realtor. He don't have any idea about the process, and we can give him an extension but you need to make the follow up with the people, because if not, you will have fines.
Yeah.
We can. The city doesn't oppose to
91 days?
Yeah, 91 days.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
And
All
with
right.
the notice to appear, Your Honor, I would suggest as well.
Yes.
An order to reappear, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And if afterwards, if I can get with you, sir, about maybe knowing where building or maybe a phone number I can reach out to assist with that.
You need to be in contact with me because...
With you?
Yes, and
Okay.
also the people who sold the house.
Okay.
Because they are pulling the permit.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, because if they sold you the house and didn't tell you about it, then you need to go back to them.
Yeah.
Do you have a warranty deed or quitclaim deed? Do you know?
Not that I know of, no.
Well, how did you buy the house?
It's financed. I got it through a VA loan.
Do you have title insurance?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't give you legal advice, but you need to talk to
Okay.
the people involved and figure out what went wrong.
And maybe
Thank
a
you.
lawyer.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you might want to talk to a lawyer. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Our next,
So that's it. You got 91 days to straighten this all out.
And you'll get an order in the mail to come back in 91 days.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
our next case is at the bottom of page 17, property address 1412 Southwest 10th Street. Owner INP Investments LLC. Case number BE 2407-0409. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25. Posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard 4325.
Preston Magwell, Inspector for the City, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to sewer repair, sidewalk replacement, and the remodeling of 2 bathrooms. Did I read this one already? Okay, so I believe I may have. Okay. All right, Preston Magdalene, Inspector for the City, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited under Florida Building Code 105.1, work legally performed without obtaining the required permit in the following manner, but not limited to the remodel of the interior of a home, including kitchens and baths. The case was opened 7/30/24. Inspection report mailed 7/31/24, and special magistrate notice mailed 1/2/25. I visited this property to investigate the possibility of work being done without permit. I met with one of the workers, Leon, who indicated that he was in the process of doing some plumbing, but was unaware of who the owner was or the contractor. I also requested that he show me permits, but did not have any. During my investigation, I did notice that the home was being demoed, including the kitchen ceiling and walls. There was also plumbing and electrical wiring exposed at that time. I thereafter checked our records, which showed no permits pulled for this work. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance, or fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 18, property address 1412 Northeast 15th Ave, case number BE 2407-0329. Owner, Ifrain Chevrolet Revocable Trust. Notice posted at the property on 3/6/25, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard 4325.
Preston Magdalene, Inspector for the City, presenting case and address as read. The property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to the installation of a shed, a covered car awning, fence, and gates. The case was opened 7/23/24. Inspection report mailed 7/25/24, and special magistrate notice mailed 1/2/25. I visited this property but was unable to get access. However, during my investigation, I did observe that there was a shed, a covered awning, and a metal fence and gate installed on the property. I spoke with the owner thereafter spoke with the owner, John Gazan, who indicated that there were permits for this work. However, upon checking our records, it showed no permits were ever issued for the work mentioned above. I've had several conversations with the owner, who indicated that he is in the process of applying for a variance with the Board of Adjusters. He also has yet to apply for the permits for the fence and the covered carport. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance with a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
18, property address 1640 Northwest 5th Ave, owner AIM Partners LLC, case number BE240700282. Notice posted at the property on 3425, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard, 4325.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presented case and address as read. This property was cited for a violation under Florida Building Code 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: the interior model of a duplex, including the kitchen and bathrooms. The exterior of the home also was renovated, including new pavers and the installation of a hot tub. The case was opened 7/22/24, inspection report mailed 7/31/24, and special magistrate notice mailed 1/2/25. I visited the property but was unable to get access. However, I thereafter met with the owner, Anastasia, who indicated that she was unaware of these violations as she recently purchased the property. During my inspection, I observed that some areas of the home included 2 units, which was remodeled, including an entry door, kitchen, and bathroom, which included a separate entrance. We also found that the garage of the rear building was illegally converted to an efficiency rental unit, which required a change of use. Our records show no permits for this work. I've had several conversations with the owner, who indicated that she is in the process of applying for a variance with the Board of Adjusters. She has also had several discussions with the assistant building official, Joe Pasquarello, regarding the requirements to comply with this case, and at present she has applied for 2 permits, including the installation of the front door and for the pavers. The city is requesting the magistrates to find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance, or fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered. Moving on to page 19, property address 1743 Northeast 15th Street, owner David Kelsey, case number BE24080044. Notice posted at the property on 3625, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard, 4325.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 105.1, work legally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: the installation of a utility shed at the rear of the property. The case was opened 8/5/24, inspection report mailed 8/6/24, and special magistrate notice mailed 1/23/25. I visited the property but was unable to get access. However, I thereafter spoke with the owner, David Kelsey, who gave me access to inspect the property. During my inspection, I did observe that the shed was constructed on a slab at the rear of the property. However, we had no record of permits being pulled for this work. The owner has been very cooperative and is in the process of pulling permits, including permit number BLDGEN 241000440 and ELEGEN 250200028. The city is requesting that the magistrate find the violations exist and grant the property owner an additional 126 days to come in compliance, or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 20, property address 2017 Northeast 18th Street, owner Loggerhead Gardens LLC, case number BE 25020193. Notice posted at the property on 3625. Notice posted at 1 Eastborough Boulevard, 4325.
Question mark, Building Inspector for the city presenting case and address is read. This property was cited for 2 violations, including under Florida Building Code 105.1. This building was illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to the addition of kitchenettes, including stove, a vent hood, sinks, two illegal studio apartments at this building. There's also a second violation for Florida Building Code 111.1.1 for the change of use and occupancy for this building. The case was opened 2/19/2025, inspection report mailed 2/24/2025, and special magistrate notice mailed 2/25/2025. I visited this property to investigate the possibility of an illegal conversion and work without permit, and met with one of the tenants, Mr. Howard, who indicated that the building has been in this configuration since he moved in several years ago. During the inspection, I found that the master bedroom in Unit 1 and 4 has been converted into a separate studio rental unit, which included a kitchenette with stove, a vent hood, and sink. A record showing no permits were ever pulled to convert these units into separate rental units. We have had several conversations with the owner's rep, Mr. Gabriel Pena, who stated that they're in the process of correcting the violations by removing the kitchenettes and reopening access to the entire apartment and reconverting this back to one unit. They have also pulled permits to legalize an existing water heater for the laundry, which fed these 2 additional units. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 23, property address 702 Northwest 6th Ave, case number BE 24050159. Owner Started From the Ground Up LLC. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 3/20/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $1,350, which continues to accrue.
Question mark, Building Inspector for the city presenting case and address is read. This case has not complied. The city is requesting that an extension be granted for 63 days and fines be stayed.
So ordered.
Property address 911 Southwest 11th Ave, owner Los Potros Real Estate LLC, case number BE 24010040. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 1/16/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $4,500, which continues to accrue.
Question mark, Building Inspector for the city presenting case and address is read. This case has not complied. I have had several conversations with the contractor and owner. The city will support an extension of 91 days extension and the fines be stayed and a notice to reappear.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 24, property address 2436 Okeechobee Lane, owner Francisco Zepeda, case number BE 24050196. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 2/20/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $2,750, which continues to accrue.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address is read. This case has not complied. Permits are in process, and so the city is requesting and will support a 91-day extension and fines to be stayed, and also notice to reappear.
So ordered.
Property address 2750 Davie Boulevard, owner La Segunda Realty Corp., case number BE 2406-0107. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 1/16/25. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $9,000, which continues to accrue.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address is read. This case has not complied. The city is requesting that fines be imposed.
So ordered.
2760 Davie Boulevard, case number BE 2405-0071, owner La Segunda Realty Corp. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 1/16/25. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $9,000, which continues to accrue.
So ordered.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address is read. The case has not complied. The city is requesting that fines be imposed.
Okay. If you don't want an extension, Preston, I could just read it. If you're not requesting an extension, I'll read it, and she can order from there. Okay.
I'm done.
Okay.
Page 25, property address 1311 Northwest 44th Court, case number BE 2406-0196, owner Spencer Charles Shirley Lewis. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 1/23/25. One section complied at $50. Total accrued fines $4,000. The city is requesting to reduce to administrative costs of $1,038.
So ordered.
Page 27, property address, nope. Page 28, property address 1108 Northeast 15th Ave. Owner Shifa 101 LLC. Case number BE 2407-0088. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 2/27/25. One section complied at $100. Total accrued fines $3,100. The city is requesting to reduce the administrative cost of $1,275.
So ordered.
Page 29, property address 1500 Cordova Road 310. Owner 1500 Cordova Road LLC. Case number BE 2309-0011. This case was first heard on 3/21/24 to comply by 9/17/24. One section complied at $100. Total accrued fines $10,900. The city is requesting to reduce the administrative cost of $1,275.
So ordered.
Property address 1801 South Andrews Ave. Owner 1801 Associates LLC. Case number BE 2309-0063. This case was first heard on 3/21/24 to comply by 9/17/24. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $21,100, which continues to accrue.
So ordered.
Property address 1850 Northwest 49th Street. Owner EWE Warehouse Investments 26 Limited. Case number BE 23070372. This case was first heard on 2/15/24 to comply by 8/13/24. Fine suspended as noted. One section complied at $100. Total accrued fines $11,000. The city is requesting to vacate. What is that? Ohio. Order imposing fines from 11/21/24 and reduce fines to administrative costs of $1,275.
So ordered.
Page, no, that was withdrawn. Page 31, property address 6650 North Andrews Ave. Owner LR Lauderdale Hotel LLC. Case number BE 23070203. One section not complied at $100. Total fines $23,100. Fines imposed at 10/17/24 hearing. City is requesting a 180-day extension.
So ordered.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we would like all the cases that are listed on page 35 into the record as closed, withdrawn, or rescheduled.
So ordered.
Thank you. This concludes our April 17, 2025 Special Magistrate Agenda hearing for the Building Department.
2 bedrooms into a larger bedroom and a bathroom suite.
Patty McCoy,